Hi and welcome to this FastAPI tutorial. Today I will teach you how to create a simple API with a couple of endpoints to start off with. The first thing we need is to create an environment for our Python project. And this is done by using the virtual environment to install our dependencies on specifically this project. So as you see here, we have the environment activated, and we will create now the requirements text file, which will contain all the dependencies that we need for this project. So here I'm adding the FastAPI package, and you can actually also pick a specific version if you need to. And if you don't specify anything, it will just use the latest version. So here we will go to the pip install, the requirements. It will go through the file and install everything, which is very simple. And from here on, we need to let's actually start by actually creating our first file, the main Python file, where we will initialize our FastAPI project. First, we import the FastAPI, and then we initialize it here. And then we can use these decorators on the app instance to add new paths. So here we have a method. I'll add some key and some value. As you can see here, these two variables, let's give it a better name actually, or a value. Welcome to FastAPI. Cool. And yeah, let's use that. And then we can use the keys and the value here. So this will be the output whenever we call the API. So here, let's start by running the application. We will do it by running the ubicorn service and set the main, which is the file, and the app is the variable we want to have in focus. I've added the dash reload to auto refresh whenever I change the code. So here we have the server up and running, which is perfect. And as you can see here, I've accessed it, and you can see the response right here. I believe for me here it's the port 8000, which is the default. This could be different for you if you manage it somewhere. But yeah, this is a good start. So if you want to inspect whichever or whatever endpoint you have, you can see here there's this Swagger documentation, which is auto-generated, and there's the redoc documentation, which is basically the same. It gives you a good overview of whatever endpoints you have available on your API. So now let's continue with a new class which will be named item, and it will inherit from the base model. We need to add some properties. Here I will add the name property of the type string and the price, which is a number. I'll give it a float. For the base model, we need to import it from the Pydantic dependency we have, which is pretty nice to have for designing our endpoints. So here we can add another endpoint, which this time it'll be a post, and you can get it from the items path, and here we can define it as the item ID. We can use it later on, which can be dynamic. Here I'm adding the method read item, which will have multiple arguments. The item ID, as you can see from the route, will be in that variable parameter, and we can have another one for this string, which you can see in a moment. So for the return response, I want to actually return the same values that I am also getting in for the test. So that's pretty much it. And now we just need to test it. Let's add some a debug um, launcher. So instead of having the command line boot up, we can add a VS Code launch file, which will make sure to start it with a debugging session. So we can set a breakpoint, and the computer will stop at that line before it executes it. So I'll just add some breakpoints real quick here before our returns and save it. So it restarts, and let's try and test it out. So we can go to the root to test it out. As you can see, we can inspect the values of the key and the value right before the return. To better test your API, I can recommend you getting a extension or a program to test it. You can use, for my case here, I'm using REST client, but you can also use Postman or Bruno, for example. So using the REST client, I can create some small files, HTTP files, where I can design specific requests I want to fire off. And the way you're doing this is by writing get to define the type, and then put in your domain and the endpoint you want to test. And as you could see, I made a mistake in my domain. I need to put in the HTTP before the domain here, and then now it's working. So now we need to get to the post request, which is the endpoint we haven't just yet tested out. It's the same domain, of course, but we also need to define the items route, and then we can define something dynamic afterwards, something that will be put in to our what's it called, our endpoint. When firing off here the request, we can see the response on the right side. We only really defined the item one, but we never really defined the queue variable, which is a query parameter. So you cannot just put in another slash and whatever test. You need to do it by using the query meter syntax, question mark, and then set the queue to a variable. This will add it to the function. So yeah, this basically wraps up this tutorial. If you want to see more, leave a like, comment, and maybe we can continue this series and create something cool. All right, cool. Peace.